Are you struggling to find enough quality time to work on your novel? Do you feel constantly guilty because life and family and work keep getting in the way and you feel like you're not able to devote enough time and mental space to writing? Well, stick around because I'm going to give you some top shelf tips on how to maintain your writing schedule and bounce back when life constantly kicks you in the teeth and tries to keep you from writing. Also, be sure to stick around to the end because my final point will deal with procrastination and you don't want to miss that. First though, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel so you can get full access to all the wonderful tips, tricks, tools and strategies on offer here at Write with Morgan. Also, it'll make me super happy. The first thing we should talk about here is your writing rhythm. Now for me and my lifestyle, it works best that I write every morning at around 4 or 5 a.m. Most days I'll write for an hour, sometimes less, sometimes more. But that works for me and it's not going to work for everyone. You might write once or twice a week. You might write in the afternoons or at night when the kids are in bed. The frequency doesn't matter so much as consistency. So if you're trying to write every day and getting frustrated because you can only seem to manage writing every second or third day, maybe you need to look at your regular writing rhythm and adjust some things. Shift to every second or third day. You need to find a rhythm that works for you and your lifestyle. Something that you can stay consistent with even when all the chaos of daily life gets in the way. And this may take some time and experimentation to land on, so don't stress about getting it sorted right away. It took me a good 7 years before I finally landed on my perfect writing schedule. 7 years! If you're familiar with my other videos, you will have heard me bang on about the one sentence method almost endlessly. This is basically how I ensure that I write every single day and get around the mental hurdle of facing writing bigger novels. I aim to write one single sentence per day and that's it. Most days I write a lot more than that, but on the days when I'm really stretched for time or I'm sick or I just don't feel like it, I'll literally write one single sentence. Achieving my writing goal is super easy because it's just one sentence. I can reach my goal wherever I am, whether I'm at my PC, my laptop, my phone, even if I've got a napkin handy. No matter how tired I feel, writing a single sentence isn't daunting in the least. And that thought helps me get around the fear of facing a larger writing project. Now this won't work for everyone, but I know the way that my brain works. And I know that tricking myself into writing just one sentence a day is the best way to keep me writing and productive. A regular writing rhythm is incredibly important and it's good to have goals, but you need to accept the fact that you'll experience peaks and troughs in your writing life. Some days you'll write 3 or 4 chapters with ease. Other days you'll struggle to bash out a single sentence. But the ups and downs don't really matter in the overall scheme of your writing journey. As long as you're consistent and you keep making progress, the cumulative result of the regular writing rhythm you've established will equate to progress. Wow, that was a super weird and convoluted way of saying that. I'll try again. Some days you'll write a lot, some days you'll write very little, and that's fine. When inspiration hits, write it for as long as you can. During the lean times, just stick to your minimum goal and be content with the fact that the writing peaks you experience will more than make up for the troughs. Okay, so what if life keeps interrupting your writing schedule? Your kids, your partner, your cat, something or someone keeps distracting you and blowing through your allotted writing time each and every day. My first tip to dealing with this is to have a very achievable and relatively small writing goal for each date. Something that you can meet easily even when life gets in the way. That way, on those weeks where you get sidetracked or your writing schedule gets destroyed by this or that, you've got a better chance of at least sticking to that minimum. Don't underestimate the importance of achieving small writing goals every week. These help keep you motivated and focused. And remember, if you keep missing your goal, it might be worth tweaking it a little to make it more achievable. Another great way to deal with this is to do something to do with writing every day. It could be writing a single sentence, it could be thinking about your characters or plots for a few minutes, it could be looking up the definition of a single word that you're interested in, watching a YouTube video to inspire and educate. If you can do something, anything, even on the days when life gets in the way, at least then you're adding something to your creative enterprise. You're building out your novel, growing as a writer, and moving forward in some way, no matter how small. Finally, for those days and weeks where you just can't do anything towards progressing your writing, remember these 2 points. Have faith that you're going to go through peak periods where the writing is easier and you'll be much more productive. These periods will more than make up for the days when you don't get anything done. It's a cliche, but writing is a marathon, not a sprint. What matters is progress and consistency over the long haul. So ignore hiccups along the way and remind yourself that there will be more than enough opportunity to make up for your writing shortfalls. And secondly, a novel can be a little bit like a good bottle of wine. Leave it for a while and it can mature and develop in amazing ways. On those days when you're forced away from writing, just remember that the ideas will still be there, fermenting in the back of your head. Whether you're actively writing or not, some part of you will still be thinking through character details, plot points, and so on. So eventually, when you do get back to the writing, some of your initial ideas may have developed and matured over time because on some level you're still thinking through them in the back of your mind. So even when you're forced to spend time away from writing, you're kind of still doing it. Yes, that might be a bit of a cognitive trick, but hey, if it works, do it. Now, it's human nature to compare ourselves to others, but this can be quite damaging when it comes to something like writing. For example, you might hear me say I write for 1 or 2 hours a day and think to yourself, wow, the best I can manage is 15 minutes max. How am I ever going to get 2 hours a day to write? I'll never be able to do that, so I'm never going to be a real writer because I just can't find the time. And look, it's the same with success. You might follow a particular author and think, wow, they've written so much amazing stuff, they've won awards, and they seem so professional and together. I'll never be like that. I'm a mess. Okay, so I'll let you in on a little secret here. We all have thoughts like that. No matter where you are in your writing journey, the temptation is always to look ahead at writers who are more experienced and successful and say, I'll never be like them. I'll never be able to achieve what they've achieved. Well, to that I say, balderdash. Now listen up with your ears, because here's what you need to do. Use those ahead of you to inspire and educate you, but never use someone else's work as a barometer for your own writing journey. Wherever you are in your writing journey, there will always be a bunch of people ahead of you and a bunch of people behind you. Look ahead to be inspired and educated, and look behind to be encouraged in just how far you've come. But don't get stuck on someone else's creative journey. This is about you and where you're heading, and that's where you need to focus. So what if your problem isn't time, it's inspiration? What if you're sitting there staring at a blank page or desperately trying to work through plot problems with your existing novel? You've tried everything you can think of to keep moving, but you just end up blowing through your writing time because the ideas just aren't flowing. My suggestion is this: write. But write something different. Put aside your novel for a moment and start something entirely new. Think of 2 characters or real-world people that you like or hate or intrigue you in some way. Sit them down at a bar in the middle of a post-apocalyptic desert and have them start talking to each other. If dialogue isn't your strong suit, then write an action scene or a letter to one of your main characters. It doesn't matter what you write, the key is to just start writing. Try and think of an idea which is completely unrelated to the novel you're working on, and the crazier, the better. Really stretch yourself with this exercise. Do something you've never done before. Write a short story without using the letter S. Trust me, it ain't easy. The purpose behind this is to keep your writing muscles in shape, but also to help you pull away from your current project for long enough to try and clear your mind. Think of this exercise as a palate cleanser for your brain, a way of clearing out the stress and confusion about your current project and just experiencing the joy of writing something weird and fun and new. More than likely, while you're doing this, inspiration will strike and you'll be able to return to your novel full of beans and ready to crash through that writer's block. Alternatively, this little writing exercise might turn into a project in its own right. You might end up writing a novel or a novella or a short story off the back of this simple exercise. Either way, I've found that this kind of thing really helps when you're struggling with writer's block. Now, on to procrastination. Now, procrastination is a whole topic in its own right, and I'll be covering that in a little bit more detail in other videos. But for now, I will say that the single biggest factor for me beating procrastination is this: make your daily writing goal as small and achievable as possible. Why do we actually procrastinate? Most times it's because we're either afraid or intimidated by the work ahead of us, or we're just bored with it. But for most of us, fear is the biggest demotivating factor for writing. So, having a simple, achievable daily writing goal helps us get around this fear. Well, hopefully this has helped you deal with those pesky real-world interruptions and stresses which keep you from writing. Let me know in the comments if this helps or if there's something specific that you'd like me to tackle in another video. And as always, keep it real, keep it safe.